Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast.
Boom! What's going on, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
Is that Rob?
I think is that Rob?
Rob is creeping it real.
Hey, we are back from Daytona, and what a time it was.
Dude, it was pretty awesome. Not gonna lie, I did a little bit of most of the things that I wanted to do the weekend. I did a little bit of herping, saw the show, saw some people, hung out at the gazebo.
Hell
spent
yeah!
some time on the beach.
Did not swim with sharks.
Did not swim with sharks. I did bring the little shark that
Yes,
you had gifted to me.
yes.
But I did not go swimming with the sharks this time. I didn't have Matt Bowers with me, so I can't go swim with the sharks without him.
That's true. That's true.
His
We missed our
muscles
buddy
keep them
Matt.
away.
It's they know that's the guy that punched us in the nose.
He'll wrestle him.
It's true. It's true.
But before we get started, tonight's episode is brought to you by Black Box Cages. If you're looking for a cage or a rack or an enclosure or a hide or a shift box or, all the works, make sure that you hit up Black Box Cages. I am loving these enclosures that I've got. I got to make a video on them so I can explain to people why I really love them, because they've worked out really great for the scrubs, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. So
heck yeah, I know. I want to do an update video on the rack for the leopard geckos, so people can see now that they're officially in use, and we've been breeding geckos. I want to do an update and show off the rack and how it's doing, because I also am very impressed by it and am enjoying it quite a bit. So
yeah, not having to drill through the enclosures for my heat panels or for the lights or for any of that is just like worth its weight in gold.
Dude, 100%, man. 100%. It really is.
Yeah, because let me tell you, the other cages I got, I had to drill them for heat and lights, and it didn't come out so hot.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to think of ways to retrofit it now so I can make it look less bad, but
it's like, wow, I just wanted extra ventilation. That's why there's so many holes back there. That's why this looks like that. Yeah. Ventilation is key. Yeah. Oh man.
So how was your Daytona trip?
Dude, Daytona for me was great. So it was the first Daytona working with US Arc. So I did have some work to do, but it was cool. I made a post on Facebook today because I'm pretty much 99.9% caught up with all the animals after the 4 or 5 days away. But admittedly got like 0 pictures for myself.
Yeah.
Everything was focused around the content I needed to get for US Arc, which is cool. So I'll live vicariously through that. It's okay. But yeah, last year there were way more personal photos. But yeah, it was a great Daytona, man. I was looking forward to it for a while. Obviously my partner Mark came with me, and he was also excited for the show, but also like a bit of a vacation, which I think we were both kind of very much in need for a bit of a break. So seeing great people, great animals. If you were a turtle person, that was the show to be at, dude. So many freaking turtles. Yeah, spent some time on the beach, hung out with a bunch of people, ate plenty of great food. Unlike coming back home, I'm currently dealing with the tail end of some food poisoning nonsense. So yeah, so bear with me if my energy is a little low, guys. But yeah, it was really just a great time. Also nice to not drive it. I know you guys drove.
Yeah, I drove.
Yeah, I appreciated the flight for sure. But you guys had a purpose for driving, though, more so than just the ridiculous cost of airfare.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, how about you?
I mean, the show was great. I mean, I like I said, I got to do a little bit of herping, got to see a pygmy rattlesnake, which, hey,
Heck
anytime you
yeah,
see a rattlesnake, anytime you see something venomous,
it's cool.
checks
Yeah.
off the list for me.
Yep.
Saw a bunch of gopher tortoises, which was tight, and then trying to think, saw a bunch of bunch of friends. You know, got to check out the auction on Saturday night, which 117,000 was the final number
117,000 raised. Yeah.
for US Arc and for US Arc Florida, which is tight.
Yeah.
Really great stuff. Good people. Got to see Gene Bissett and a bunch of the other people who I just barely get to see. Greg Graziani was there.
Yep.
Got to talk alligators with him for a little bit, and just run around the show like a madman trying to see where all the cool stuff's at. I mean,
Right.
I was afraid because on Friday, was it Friday or Thursday? I think it's Friday when I got down there. I
Mhm.
bumped into a bunch of the people hanging out at the gazebo, and I was like, "Hey, like, any of you guys have VIP passes?" Because I didn't get a VIP pass. I was
Right.
like, "You guys go in there?" And a couple people were like, "Yeah, we went in there. Not really great. I wasn't really impressed with the stuff that was out." And I was like, "Oh
Mm.
no,
Yeah.
oh
Right.
no,
Right.
dude! Don't get me wrong. I come to the show for the people, but I usually get to see some cool stuff while I'm here." And
Yeah.
so I
Right.
was like,
Right.
very concerned, and they were like, not everyone was set up yet, and not everyone had all their stuff out, and some of the tables are covered, so
Right.
you probably won't get a good feel until tomorrow. And I was like, okay, well,
We'll hope for the
I'll,
best. Yeah.
I'll reserve my judgment for the time being, and
Right.
I will just hope for the best. I got my fingers crossed. And it worked out. It worked out because there was so many cool things at the show. If you did not think that there were cool things at the show, you are not looking for cool things, or you don't know what cool things are, because there was lots of cool
Right.
stuff there. Really, really cool stuff. Oh, everything from Galapagos tortoise to Moluccan scrub pythons to, I guess, people ooh and ah. There was a baby Boelens there, but I personally
Yeah.
don't care about
Yeah.
that as much. Baby Apodora, Barons
cool.
racers. There was, like you were saying, lots and lots of lots and lots of different types of turtles and tortoises, albinos, hypos. There was actually kind of tucked away at Underground's table. There was a keelback snake, and I was like, "Yo, you
Oh,
never
that's cool.
ever see those." And I was like, "Aren't these kind of weird things?" But hey, whatever.
Ah!
Uh, so there was lots and lots of cool stuff at the show, and getting to see Chris Montross and check out all his amazing water snakes, which I
Heck yeah.
almost pulled the trigger on getting some broad-banded water snakes. I was,
Ooh.
dude, they're so nice. And he showed me pictures of the parents, and I'm like, oh my god, these things are so cool. They're
Heck
so
yeah, dude.
good. But it was a good show overall. Lots of variety. And
Yeah.
for people concerned about Florida, I mean, there was still a huge amount of variety there, from lizards to snakes to turtles and tortoises and all the rest.
Yeah, no, there definitely was. Like shout out to my buddy Alex Concepcion and Eddie Soto over at On the Way Exotics. They had, I think they said about 90 different species on their end cap alone, which is insane. Like that's crazy. So if you were saying it was just ball pythons and crested geckos, you did not look around like at all. Yeah, it was cool to see Ron St. Pierre and the albino blue tongue skink project.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah,
bro.
dude. Those were super, super cool. He actually just posted a picture of them today, like post shed, and oh my god, it just glows. It just glows. So that was cool to see. I know for a fact that they did sell one.
Wow.
Yeah, which is great, which means there were sales happening, which is of course great for those of us that are trying to sell things to, pay bills.
True.
But yeah, so that was really great, and we definitely need to get Ron back on for another episode. He and I were talking a bit about the Emerald Tree Boa stuff that we discussed at length last time. And he's found out some more interesting info and has had a good amount of experiences now that we're, I think, 8 or 10 months into him pushing that stuff. So would love to get him back and discuss those findings and what he's figuring out about feeder diets and all these other things that will make an impact on the successful, consistent reproduction of northern emeralds. So that was a cool conversation, man. There were just so many different people at the show. It was great to see. I know you mentioned Chris Montross. I briefly ran into him while I was running around to do something, and it didn't even click. He was just like, "Hey man, it's Chris," and I was like doing a million things. So I was like, "Hey man, it's great to meet you." And I'm like, "I know I recognize you, and I'm so busy right now I can't place." And then I saw his table, and I was like, "Man, I got to get back over there." And in true large show fashion, it was just like damn near impossible to get back over there. Combined with I again had to do work things, so I had to go get specific things for content and whatever. But got to make the list of people specifically to make sure I see either at Tinley or at next year's Daytona that I missed this year.
Yeah.
What if I told you scientists discovered 100 new species in the deep ocean?
Why did crocodiles survive extinction?
Megalodon. How did it go extinct?
Hey, it's me, Forrest Galante, wildlife biologist. You might know me from Joe Rogan's podcast or my various TV shows like Extinct or Alive and Shark Week. Join me and my friends as we dive into the wild world of animal anomalies and everything wildlife. Don't miss out. Click here to uncover these mind-blowing animal mysteries.
Yeah, for sure. It's so funny because there was a few people there who I knew online, but I had not met in person yet. And one of those people was like Brandon Cult Serpents, and he does a bunch of like scrubs and herping and all this stuff. And I was like, he came up and he was like, "Hey Ron, like what's up?" And I was like, "Hey man, like how's it going?" And he's like, I am. And I was like, and he was like, Brandon Cult Serpents. I was like, yo, and I'm doing a big old hug. I was like, dude, holy crap. Like a lot of these people, they post just like pictures of the snakes most of the time. And so I know their screen names and I know their animals and all that stuff, but knowing them like face to face is, I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know, but
it's true.
That's how it goes sometimes. And like, I post pictures of myself pretty regularly, and so I think people can kind of pick me out of a crowd most of the time, and so I'm like, hey, just say hi to me and then tell me who you are, and we can talk, we'll chat.
Literally, dude. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
that's like the flawed part of coming to meet people, but we're all fairly introverted outside of our animals. So it's like most of people's social medias are, unless they're like a high level influencer or whatever, it's usually just the pictures of the animals. Yeah. and they're just like, hey, I'm so and so. And he's like, you got to give me more than that, bro. Like, you know how many
hold on, put a snake in your hand and let me see.
Yeah, do you have the exact background that you take those pictures with? Because then I'll know for sure.
For sure.
But yeah, no, I mean, it was great to see guys like Greg Graziani and Eugene Bissett, of course, Craig Trumbauer, Lee Abbott,
Keith McPeak,
of course. Yes, absolutely. So, okay, so here's my funny Amazon story. When it comes to Keith and Dennis,
I know it's coming.
freaking Dennis, man. So Dennis says to me that he got some Amazons from Keith, and I was like, oh man, that's really cool. And he's like, yeah, man. So I was gonna get this Amazon from Keith, and he reached back out to me and asked if I was interested in some others, and I wasn't totally sure. And he was like, well, I'll just bring him to the show, and whatever you like, we'll figure it out, and whatever you don't, or maybe I'll go like talk to Jeremy or something. And now mind you, Keith didn't reach out to me at all, so I had no idea that this conversation was happening. And I'm like, okay, you know, that's cool. And he's like, you know, I'm looking at all these Amazons and I'm like, you know, I like Jeremy, but these Amazons are really nice.
Yeah, they're so nice, man. Oh my god.
So I was like, all right, you know, it's fine. It's fine. I don't need more Amazons. No, not at all.
Are you sure?
Yeah, of course not. Of course I'm not sure. I have a problem, Rob. But so I was like, all right, you know, that's cool. And he's like, man, some of them are really nice. And Marshall Mendez posted a picture of the bicolor or technically tricolor tiger that was in that group, and it was insane looking. And I was like, oh man, dude. So I went to Dennis's table and he was like, if you happen to be here when Keith is here, he's like, all of his stuff is in that bag under my table, but I'm not sure what's what. So I don't want to touch it. But I know that the Amazons are in there. And I was like, okay. So towards the middle of the day, I think it was on Sunday, I was running around. I was trying to get a picture of something for USARK, and I saw Keith at Dennis's table, and I was like, screw it. Screw the mission.
Yeah.
I have to get over
just
there.
for a moment. Just for a moment.
Yeah, just for a moment. And ran over there and was like, all right, I need to see these Amazons. And holy hell, dude. I was blown away. It was 5 Amazons, and it ended up being 1.4 is what the group was. And I was just like, oh man. But some smoking red calico animals, that tricolor tiger. What else was in there? I think it was mostly calico stuff, and then that tiger. And I was like, well,
you son of a gun.
Yeah, literally. I'm like, you know what, Dennis? I'm like, I could be mad, but the reality is, I know at some point we'll probably just swap babies around.
Yep.
So just know I remember this.
And they're in capable hands. Dennis has bred Amazons, and he is a very proficient keeper. So it's not like they're just going to vanish into the ether, you know?
Yeah, 100%. That's why I'm like, all right.
Okay,
So now what this means is periodically when I am getting withdrawals on new Amazon content, I'll be sure to pester him about new photos or new reels on those Amazons, because Lord, they were smoking. And I kept my eye out for Amazons because you know, of course, if you find, you never know what you're gonna find. They're so variable. So I was looking around. I didn't really see any at the show. There were 2 that were in the auction, one that was in the silent auction and one that was in the live auction. And I'm looking more for captive bred animals, but would prefer something with a little bit of age. And the animal in the silent auction was a baby from this year.
Little one, yeah.
Yeah. And the one in the live auction was bigger, but went for more than I was willing to spend at the moment. So I was like, all right, it's fine. I don't really need more Amazons. Now, Keith, if you're listening and you so happen to have extra Amazons, please send me a message. Dennis has enough.
Bro, I remember that one of the first Tinleys that I went to, I'm pretty sure that was the first one I went to. Keith had some Amazons, but he had them on Matt Minatola's table. And he had like, I think 2 on display, and he had a couple behind the table. And so I ran into him. I was like, man, Matt, you got Amazon tree boas? He's like, oh, no, those are Keith's. And so next time I ran into Keith, Keith was like, do you see the Amazons over there? And I was like, oh, I saw him. All right. So he's like, just wait till I show you the one that's behind the table. And he showed me, and I was like, oh man, what the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. He doesn't, Keith is not a boastful or bragging kind of guy, but he
could be.
He could be. Oh, he could be. Absolutely. And you know what? He's got every notch in his belt to prove it, to like back it up.
100%.
And those are some really, that's one of the things that, I mean, I still remember about that Tinley experience. And, you know, sometimes shows are such a blur and a mix of all the different things that are happening that you forget, you know, some of the stuff that you saw or some of the stuff that you did while you're out there, some of the people you talk to sometimes. But that was one of the things that always stuck with me from that Tinley that I went to. And then we got a bunch of people together for like a blood python guide photo. And so we got like Matt Minatola in there and Keith and I think Lon was in there and a couple other people. It was pretty cool.
Heck yeah, man. I know I side tangent on Matt. So Matt has been very, very patiently, but also very anxiously waiting for me to pair that VPI Super Stripe animal. So that's happening this year. So of course, or this coming year. So fingers crossed. And then I can, dude, it'll be crazy as hell. It'll be like, yeah, I sent that to Matt Minatola. Like, what?
Yep. Hell yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I will take that notch.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. Nah, it's so ironically on this Amazon adventure, I don't even know if he realizes this, which would be interesting to talk with him about. So the first Amazon I had gotten when I wasn't necessarily looking to get back into them was at a Northeast Carpet Fest, and it was from Keith. It was a Keith production, and it was being auctioned off. I think we were auctioning for a US ARC or something along those lines. And I won it, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with this because I haven't kept Amazons in a very long time. But that was kind of what got me bit by the bug again, because it was also the first time I had a captive bred.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, and that was 7 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, because it was right before I came to Nerd. So,
wow.
So yes, about 6-7 years ago now, which is crazy. Time is flying by.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a cool little factoid. I'll have to talk with him about, because I don't even know if he remembers that.
Yeah, man. I saw some Amazons of the show, but they were all like wild caught stuff. But there was a couple like nicer looking ones, but again, they're just like wild caught and a little on the smaller side. So there wasn't any like
right. I remember you sent me that nice high red bicolor animal. That was a nice one. But yeah, I'm yes, that is an ATB in the background of this podcast. That's my male bicolor king, who has currently been breeding with one of my tiger girls, who is developing quite nicely. So fingers crossed. I had 3 females just start cycling out of nowhere
right now.
Now. So I've been keeping them fed and been pairing them up, and they're moving right along as they should. So I might have some early 2025 babies. So tight. Yeah, I won't complain about that whatsoever. And then I'll have other stuff that is not cycling now that will cycle later in 2025. So we should have a good amount of Amazons happening next year. Fingers crossed. I don't want to speak it into existence and jinx myself, but because you know how boas go. But we'll keep heartbreak. Yeah. Oh God, so much heartbreak.
Only sometimes.
Yeah. So I'm waiting any day now for this litter to drop from my calico male Zorro to one of Ryan's females, Bloody Mary. She's like a high red, technically I guess tricolor animal, but dark red eyes, and I'm like, this is gonna just make some really cool babies. So I'm excited for that. And it was hilarious pairing them up, because she is a massive female. Like, she will easily take a small rat and you'd barely notice. Like, she is just a mammoth. And Zorro is this little 3.5 foot male that's got good size for his length, but he's very tiny in comparison. But he got the job done. I just remember looking at them locked one night, and I was like, Zorro, that looks like your whole body is being used. Like, I'm pretty sure your head is somewhere like trapped in a coil so that you don't fall out of the tube. But yeah, I'm super pumped for that. And then these other girls that started cycling, one was a tiger female, one was bicolor female, and one was a garden phase. So
Dude, he's like a bromeliad boa. He's bit on the end of her tail and wrapped his whole body up her.
100%, dude. 100%. I think your audio is lagging, Rob. We're gonna figure it out. Bam, Rob's gone. It was funny. We joked before we started the podcast that his audio and video have been messing up for the last couple of episodes, and we joked before we started this episode that everything was great backstage, and we were hoping that it wouldn't trip up again, and unfortunately, it has. But yeah, so Rob will come back in a moment. But yeah, so I'm super excited about the Amazon stuff. Like I said, I wish I saw some more at Daytona, but it was a blast. Regardless, there were a lot of really cool animals there. If you watch Brian Cusco at all, you'll see that they just did a video, an uncut video, excuse me, where they were on the quest to see the Borneo earless monitors that were there. And after 17 minutes of searching, they actually finally found them, and it was cool. So apparently they were F5 babies. They had some younger babies there that were F5, which is actually really cool. Just as Dave mentioned, I didn't realize that they were that far along in captive production. So that was super cool to see. So if you haven't checked that out, go check that out for sure. It's worth your time. I promise it's worth your time to go check that one out. But yeah, I think, shows like that really, the animals are of course great, and as we've kind of talked about, like the people are really what make the shows that much more enjoyable for us, because again, like these destination shows like Daytona, like Tinley, like even the Pomona show in California, we're going to of course see cool animals, maybe buy some animals, but we're going to see friends, and I remember my first Tinley genuinely felt like a big family reunion, because there were many folks that I met at that show that I had only known online, and some of them I had known online for a dozen years, but never met in person. They never came over to the East Coast, and at the time I had never gone to the Midwest or to the West Coast, so it was the first time getting the chance to actually meet them. So I would 100% recommend getting to a larger show, even if it's just a like a regional thing. Like if you have a bigger regional show, check it out, because the reality is, it would be really, really exciting for you to meet some of those people in person. And the man is back. Welcome back.
Hey, my computer was just not having it.
Sheesh. One day we'll figure that out.
That's okay.
Oh man. But yeah, so I was just saying how like a lot of these bigger shows, these destination shows, like seeing the animals is cool, especially if you're trying to buy something, but you see what everybody's working with. But the people really are what make it, and
Yeah.
when a lot of these times, like you're only ever going to see them at those shows because maybe that's their local show, but also like maybe that's just the one big show that they vent or do anything at, so it's the only chance you're going to get to see them, and that's what makes it that much more exciting to attend.
True. Yeah, and like I think that some of the podcast guys kind of make this their one trip to go to. So like Owen from NPR was there, which he usually isn't there, but he was able to make it down, which was awesome to get to see him and to point out. I pointed out all the white lip pythons to him, and all the different cool king rats and shit. And the guys from the Herpeticulture podcast, Phil Wolf, Justin, they were down there, and then the guys from the Flippin' Tin podcast got Skylar and Jake. Dude, it was good times. Good times.
Heck yeah. Daytona is my my annual conversation with Phil.
Yes. Yeah.
like every once in a while we might send a quick message on Instagram, but like to actually hang and have a conversation, it's just a Daytona, which is always hilarious to me.
Yes. Yeah. Dude, it was pretty. I like getting to hang out and talk with people, especially because like the gazebo area is always the home of debauchery for the evening. So Friday,
yeah.
Saturday, Sunday night, I'm usually down there hanging out with people until who knows when. I usually went to sleep. This year, I went to sleep at like 12-1 both nights because I was like, first off, Friday night and Saturday before the show, I wanted to go herping. And so I was like, I need to go to sleep because I want to get up at like 6, leave at 6:20 or 6:30, get to the spot and herp until the show opens, basically.
Right.
And that's what I ended up doing. And then on Sunday, I was like, okay, I want to just get some rest before I do the show because I'm going to be running around like like a maniac trying to talk to everybody and see if there's anything I missed from the day before and take pictures and hook up with people. And so I both nights I went to sleep kind of earlier than because last time I went, I think I went to sleep at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Right, exactly. Consumed by the hangs, man.
And I was hurting when I went herping in the morning.
Right, I bet, dude. I bet. Let's see. Our buddy Tony is here in the chat. He asked if there were any Javanicus support or representation in Daytona. I didn't see any.
I didn't see any. Nope.
Tony, that means
No
you got to vend the
Javanicus.
show, bro.
Yeah, no Acrocortis at all, no Granulatus or Javanicus, which is good and bad. It's I'm going to preface this by saying it's good because it's not someone peddling a bunch of, because most of the people who would have it at this show would be peddling freshly born imports, and they probably aren't going to do well. But it's bad because you do want to see some representation for them for some of that oddball stuff at the show.
Right. 100%.
I think that the last time I went, there was one Javanicus at the show, but it was like a bigger one.
That's fair. Yeah. So I'm gonna see. We might get a cameo in a moment to give another angle of the Daytona shenanigans. But yes, surprises. I would expect Florida to have them, but 100% with that reason. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with Rob on that for sure. Yeah, it's cool, but it would be cool to see them, but also, yeah, not cool. So Tony, come vend the show.
You gotta get out here, bro. Yeah, you gotta get out of here.
That's what we're saying. That is what we're saying. Come vend the show. It can't be that difficult to put those snakes in containers and ship them across the country.
I would not.
It's okay. Just put a picture. Just put a picture on the table.
Yeah.
Oh God. Cameo time.
Hey.
Daytona in the house.
Wow.
Hey.
So for those who don't know,
we saw the moon.
We did see the moon. For those of you who don't know or don't follow me enough to know, this is my partner Mark. Mark came with us to Daytona and had a great time. So what was your favorite part about Daytona?
So Matt, I'm horrible at names.
Gecko? Oh, yes. Gecko Matt Baranek at Sassabeck Reptiles.
Yes.
Hey.
We got a lot of geckos.
A lot of them. But also, I got a day gecko. Shout out to Yoshi.
Hey.
Setup was nice. He's very professional. I always say this. I said this when we walked away, that he was just very clean and very professional, and I love Yoshi. So
Bam.
Definitely shout out to
good people.
I had such a great time. We like the hang, the beach, also seeing the Rob. I love
seeing the Rob is absolutely necessary.
Love seeing the Rob.
Is that Rob?
Is that Rob? Is that Rob? Rob? Oh gosh, that was amazing.
But like, I had such a great time. I got to, of course, Adeline. I always am a fan of her and Chris's. Like, So
Yeah.
if you guys are like into good art, especially like reptile art, please look up Adeline. And Chris does these really cool like spaceship thing art.
Go get it. So this has become his thing. So he really, of course, he loves Adeline's art, but also really likes Chris's art. So he picked up this piece from Chris, and he was super excited for just what the piece is. I had to laugh. No, you're good. I had to laugh because I noticed. Hang on, I'm going to take this real quick just to see if I can get it to the camera. That he crosses out Adeline's name right there.
That's too funny.
And he was like, I didn't even see that. I was like, that's hilarious because it was the first thing I saw just because it was this big blue X in the bottom corner. Oh, yes.
Everybody should know this, but I love Todd.
From Timberline.
From Timberline. That's like my
Yes.
favorite. And I stole something. Well, he gave
So
it to me.
apparently, Todd has his own trading card.
Oh my goodness.
So he came over to me and he was like, I got a Todd card. And I'm thinking he's geeking out over a fucking business card. I'm like, we have his number. Like,
That
why?
would be strange. Yeah.
Yeah. That was,
Also, Todd never shows his face in any of his photos.
this is true.
So
Yes.
someone cropped his face and put him in a cornfield and in the suit.
The Midwest.
Excuse me.
It is the Midwest. We love you, Todd.
Yes.
Look, tooth corn-fed smile.
I know how to
Oh, man.
enter and I know how to exit.
You're good.
Cameo over.
Screaming. Oh man. But yeah, it
That's
was
awesome.
it was a blast. It was absolutely a blast. And it excites me that he gets excited about the reptiles, of course, but also the people. Like for him, I mean, this is his second Daytona, but we've been together for a little over a year and a half now. So he's very, very new to all of this. And he's just like dove right in, met so many great people. And it's another thing that I love about the industry. They're just so welcoming and love his energy. How can you not? But
Did he get you in shorts on the beach again?
he did get me in shorts on the beach multiple times. Yeah. So yeah, for those who don't know, so shows for me, I am in like a totally different mentality at shows. I'm looking at animals and I'm talking to people. And the talking to people thing, even after the show, like at a place like Daytona, we're hanging out at the gazebo and all that stuff. I'm not thinking about doing anything else. Yeah. And last year he was like, we're going on the beach at least once. And I was like, okay, fine, we'll go on the beach. We'll do the beach thing, whatever. And I had a blast. So
yeah.
So we made sure that there was beach time this go around. And I think we actually were on the beach every day. We made time for it every day. So I was very pleased with that. Yeah.
Rock your world, baby.
Oh my gosh. Amazing. But yeah, so it was just a blast.
That's awesome.
It was a blast. But yes, we got lots of geckos. Shout out again to Yoshi from Modern Reptile Shop for this peacock day gecko, which is a cute little guy. So fun fact, peacock day geckos were my absolute favorite day geckos as a kid. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why. Just something about them. Anytime I saw them, I was like, I like that a lot. I don't know why, but it was for me. It was a toss up between those and the gold dust day geckos.
Okay. Those were featured a couple times in a couple different books too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's cool. And then of course, shout out, as we said, to Matt at Sassabeck, because leopard gecko rack is it's kind of full. It's kind of full right now. So if you're interested in leopard geckos, we're gonna have a lot in 2025. So
see,
woo-hoo!
I got away with not buying any animals, which is awesome. Although, like I said, dude, I told you, Dark Horse, I was so tempted by those broad-banded water snakes, and I want to get some broad-banded water snakes, but I also want to set them up a little bit different than what I would be able to do right now. And so I was like, I will circle back. I want to get some of these, but I also want to be able to set them up in an enclosure where I can interact with them and work with them because they are so interactive and smart and interesting. And I was like, I really don't want to just put them in a rack and not be able to do that right now. So I didn't do that. And then our friends, I don't know if they want to be named, but a couple of our friends had to rehome some corn snakes. And so they asked me if I was interested in a corn snake, an Okatee from Lee Abbott. So everyone who gets on me about the fucking Okatees, are they from the Hunt Club? I have one from the Hunt Club. Actually, I have two from the Hunt Club now because my male is a Sherman line crossed to a Lee Abbott line. And then this female that I just got from them is a Lee Abbott line. So I'll have actual Hunt Club Okatees. And then they also gave me two reverse Okatees, a pair of reverse Okatees. So, yeah. And so I knew I was going to come home with those. So I was like, I do not need to buy any snakes. I've hatched out a whole bunch of snakes right now. I just got to focus on getting all those guys feeding and then selling those and moving them out the door. But you know what I did get at the show, which I am really excited to show off because this is something that I've wanted for years and years and years. And I was not able to get one until the auction on Saturday night. But I got this sweet Daytona 2008 Daytona Expo. This is the year before I went to my first Daytona, and this is the year that I was like so angry that I wasn't able to make it in 2000. So I was born in 1989, so I was like 19 years old when this expo happened. So I couldn't really make it happen myself. I was not in the appropriate place to make it happen myself. And the next year, I convinced my mom to help me out to get down there. But this year, 2008, on the front, it's got a jungle carpet python and a blood python. And on the back, it has the blood python symposium with Tracy Barker, Kara Glasgow, Kara Norris now, Ryan Norris, Dave Barker, and Cameron from Bushmaster. And they all did a symposium talking about blood pythons. And I was like, so pissed that I couldn't go. And I've been looking for this shirt since then, and I've been trying to hunt one down, and people just will not come off of them for the most part.
Of course.
At least the people who I know who have one, they're like, nah, I'm keeping this. And so I was able to snag this at the auction, and I went back and forth bidding with someone. No, sorry. This is the one that Alex Huang Pandas Fauna had bid on, and then you wrote in my name, and I ended up winning it. Yeah. He said he didn't remember bidding on it, so it's all good. And then the other shirt I got at the expo is I was just talking to Kristen about how I wanted a shirt with a rhino viper on it. Yes. And this Daytona Venomous Expo shirt has a rhino viper on it, and it does not have 2004 is when this shirt is from. Oh, dang. And I was like, bro, that is it. And so when I saw that shirt, this is the one that I bid back and forth with a couple people on because I was like, sorry guys, but I need a Rhino Viper shirt. And what better than a Daytona Rhino Viper shirt to go along with my Blood Python one? And so I was really, really excited to snag that. So I got to message Kara and see if I can send her the Blood Python one and have her sign it, have her and Ryan sign it. And then I don't know if Dave and Tracy would do that. I bet you they would if I sent them the box and stuff. And
yeah, they probably would.
Cameron's retired now, but I would love to get him to sign it too. That would be pretty tight. That would just like coup de grace, the piece de resistance to make it worth it because they're both 2Xs, so they're a little big on me.
What do you mean, Rob?
They're so heavy, I can't get them. Sorry, no, just kidding. But they're a little too big for me to wear, but I am going to frame them and hang them up. So
hell yeah!
I'm excited for both of those, and those are my big purchases for Daytona. I went out and got 2 T-shirts, and that works for me, you know.
Hell yeah, dude. So that Rhino Viper shirt, that's a 20-year-old shirt. That's
Lord have
crazy,
mercy.
dude.
Wait, is this older than Lucas? No, Lucas just turned 20.
He just turned 20. Yeah.
So this shirt is as old as Lucas. Kobe Keeper Jr., I'm looking at you, bro.
That's
This shirt.
crazy, dude. That is crazy.
And it looks good for being a 20-year-old shirt, bro.
It does. That's why I'm shocked. Even the Blood Python one for 08, that looks really good too for so what is that? A 16-year-old shirt?
Yep.
That's pretty damn good, dude.
Let me tell you, I have a shirt from 2009. Actually, I have two of them, and they are not in nearly as good quality because I wore the hell out of those shirts. And I don't want to say they were not cool, but they had just like a tree frog, a tortoise, a boa, like just generic. And I wore the hell out of those shirts, man. They are not in this good a quality.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. That kind of stuff is what makes this so much fun, dude. Like there's so many memories attached to that kind of stuff. And like even if you weren't there, like it's just, it really is kind of a part of history, especially with something like that Blood Python shirt where they had the symposium. It's got everybody's name on it. It's like, nah, these were some people. Think about Blood Pythons 20 years ago, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Like what? You know, so it's like these people were the pioneering people. Like that's badass.
Yes. Yeah. I feel very lucky to have this shirt now, and this is a little piece of Blood Python history, and from somebody who has always loved Bloods and short tails, it's something that might not be as valuable or like worth as much to a lot of other people, but it means a lot to me. So
yeah, hell yeah, dude, that's super exciting.
Did you have any animals at the show that really like wowed you, blew your mind?
Lee Abbott's table.
Oh my goodness, bro! The Baird's corns. They're not hybrids, people, but there was this morph that he had there, and it looked like a Baird's. The thing was like silver and an orange head. The thing was crazy.
Yes. Yep, dude, he just has some insane animals. You know, I mean, his Anery Okatee stuff, the Okatee stuff, just in general. Dude, his coral stuff, the salmon stuff, like looking at babies that are maybe 2-3 months old that are neon pink from head to tail. I'm just like, dude, I like mine take a dozen sheds before I start to see a glimmer of pink, and yours are like right out of the egg, freaking flaming pink. Like holy Christ, man! That, like, if you don't know corn snakes, then you don't quite understand the significance. But like Lee Abbott is like a godfather of corn.
One of the OGs, yeah.
So it's like he's all that polygenic stuff that like people freak out about and stuff now. Like he was one of those guys that was like discovering that, like at the very beginning, and have now just refined it to a point where it's like it's been line bred, but then it's been outcrossed and bloodline strengthened and all this stuff. And like he's the guy that's like doing that kind of work and has been doing that work for so many generations of colubrids. It really just blew me away. Of course, I saw right next to his table, I always forget the person that's at the tail end of his table with the scaleless palmettos. I just like the look of that, like Sharpie on a paper towel, kind of like ink blot kind of look. I just like that. I know you don't like that, Rob, but I like that. I don't like it enough to spend 10 grand on a pair of them, but but I like that. I do like that look. But he really just blew me away. I mean, of course, there were a lot of cool, like uncommon species, but when you think about the stuff that like we've seen for 20 years, it's hard to find something in that like realm that makes you stop and be like, whoa, like what is that? So that was a big one for me. Antoine, seeing Antoine was great. I don't know if it was a highlight, but it was pretty good. It was pretty good. No, it was great to see you, dude. I'm trying to think what else. the super cappuccino crested geckos.
Oh, yeah.
Those were very cool. It was the first time I had seen those in person, so I was very intrigued by those for sure. There were so I'm just going back and thinking back on so many animals. There were a lot of just really cool animals across the board.
Captive bred Cuban boas there. Those are pretty
yes,
rare, pretty
and
tight.
the bromeliad boas,
Bro,
those
and
were
the
cool
Borneo
to
earless
see.
monitors.
Yes, yep, absolutely. Yeah, that the Borneo earless monitors. So I was mentioning while you were having your debacle with your technology. Brian Cusco and Dave Kaufman did a video today, his uncut videos, and they were searching for the Borneo earless monitors. Apparently, those are F5, those little babies.
What the hell?
Or F5. And I was like, whoa, I had no idea that they were that far into generations. So I'm like, I don't know what sexual maturity is, if they're finding things out with captive produced animals that maybe took longer to figure out with imported animals or whatever. Like, no idea. But if those are true F5 animals, that's very impressive.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So.
I've heard that they're not tremendously hard to breed. They're still a monitor. They still need, to be within parameters and everything. But I've also heard that they're not exorbitantly hard to breed like some of the other species that we've heard of. So,
right.
Apparently people are breeding those more than the Dorianus, the blue tail monitors. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's super.
I mean, I know a bunch of people who have tried to breed blue tail monitors and end up with one eviscerated monitor or two. Or three. They don't do well together for whatever reason.
Yeah,
probably have such a small window where the females are receptive or whatever. But yeah, those Borneo earless monitors are freaking tight. I keep going back to that red keelback snake because you just don't.
That thing's. I missed that, so I'm mad. I missed that. That's cool.
It's just because sometimes I go to these tables and I'm like, what the hell is that thing?
Yeah, 100%.
I have not seen one of those. And I think that one of the things that really jumped out to me was amped reptiles or exotics. I think it's amped reptiles. He had the captive bred axanthic water monitors. Man,
oh yeah.
Me and him hung out for a while, and he, let me play with one. It's been a while since I played with a little water monitor, and Kristen was like, "Oh, we need one of these." I was like, and getting to play with those little, and they weren't fresh babies. They were, really well started babies, and I was like, oh, I kind of miss working with the water monitors. That little guy was so adorable, and it just like so curious and just hanging out, chilling. And it's funny because I would run around for a minute, and then it would like get onto my arm, and then it would just lay down. And Kristen's like, oh, like he's got a good spot. I'm like, yeah, he's got a good spot, but wait 1 minute. And then he gets up and then he jumps up onto my shoulder and walks around the back, and then he kind of stops over here, and then he keeps going down. And yeah, I was really excited about that. Those guys are really cool. And he had double het axanthic sulfurs, and I was like, oh man, those are gonna look so cool. They're gonna look so nice.
Yeah, those will be badass.
Yeah. He had a couple, I think, teen eggs on the table too. Some really nice stuff. Did you see the was it Eastern or Southern? I think it was Eastern hognose snakes as soon as you go into the second room. Or yeah. There was a few baby little tiny micro baby hognose snakes in there.
Oh dang.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't see them. I didn't get to look at tables that intently to look at tiny worms.
I walked past them 3, 4, 5 times before KJ pointed them out to me. He's like, hognose snake. And I was like, whoa, Eastern hognose snake.
That's cool.
I didn't know you could sell those in Florida.
Also true. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
They must have Simus down here. I don't know if they have the platy rhinos.
Right. Dang.
But
that's cool.
Yeah, and then, dude, the beetles, the freaking giant Hercules beetles. Did you See those?
I did see those.
Bro.
Those were awesome.
So freaking cool. I spent probably on Sunday, I spent maybe 30 or 40 minutes at that table just like looking at the different larvae and the different beetles and just checking them out because like I love bugs, man. I love he had some stag beetles on his table and he had those giant Hercules beetles and they're huge. They're like freaking 6 inches long. It was giant. Some would say too big, you know?
Too big. What? Oh man.
They were great.
Yeah,
but the dude was super chill. He was just like, yeah, like I've been raising beetles and I got all these cool things. And then he's got these 2 giant beetles eating on these little jelly cups on the table. It's just so cool.
That's awesome.
And then I spent a little bit of time with the Yoshi and Tino over at the Modern Reptile, the Reptiles With podcast. They did a little interview with me on Saturday. And so I think they said they released their show recap today or yesterday. Today or yesterday?
I think today.
And
I think today, yeah.
And they said that they're going to release my talk separately. I don't know, next week or something. So
word
should be good if people are curious to see what me and Yoshi have to say about metal and snakes. You should listen to it. If you're listening to this, you should listen to it for Yoshi's story about how he came face to face with a rattlesnake.
Oh heck yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. So for those who don't know, Yoshi is not a fan of frogs or toads.
Oh, he's afraid of them.
Yes. So as we were walking, Mark and I were walking past this table, I shouted over to him and had him come in front of the table, and he's like, "What's up, man?" I was like, "This frog," but I had nothing in my hand. But it's funny because we have at the apartment complex, there's a very large southern toad that just kind of exists in the area. So every once in a while when I see it, I'll take a video of it and put it on my Instagram. No, I just put it on my story on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
But it never fails. Yoshi is the first person to respond and be like, "Nah, bro."
That's too funny.
It's amazing, man. Freaking amazing. Oh gosh.
That's too funny. I'm trying to think of like what other crazy stuff that I like. Stuff that the Moluccan scrub was not expecting to see that there. I was pretty excited to see a scrub python at the show because I was like, well, it's Florida, no scrub pythons. But I guess since Moluccans are class Lepus, you can have those. And they had a Tannenbar there, similarly a Nada. You can have those too. Although I would not trust fishing game to know the difference between any of those things.
Right.
But that was pretty cool to see those. There was a decent amount of green tree pythons there. There was some Egyptian Uromastics, the big honking ones. Those are pretty cool.
Those are awesome. There's some ornate Uromastics too.
I missed those, man. I looked around and I saw pictures on people. I think it was Mike Kosicki's page. He posted some pictures of some, and I was like, I missed those completely.
Yeah, those were like stunning, dude. I think those were at Alan Both's table.
I missed Alan Both. How did I miss Alan's?
What? Oh yeah, man. He was in the second room.
Damn.
He was in the second room. He had a lot of cool stuff, dude. I'm so mad. I should have just taken a video of it when I saw it, but I was like, nah, it'll probably still be here, and it wasn't. Of course, it wasn't there. This stunning lineatus, and I was like, Europlatus, and I was like, oh man, like there's a pair that he had, but this one in particular was just immaculate, dude. Like the contrast, the striping, it was just holy crap. And I was like, I gotta get a picture of this. Like, I want to hold it and I'll do something for a US ARC or something. Like, this is just a really spectacular looking gecko. And again, I was in the middle of trying to find something else or find somebody else. So I was like, I'm gonna come back, like I'll be okay, I'll come back. And dude, by the time I got back, it was gone. And I was like, damn, like
yep.
I'm like, shit, man. But yeah, that diversity again, I think that was overall such a big highlight, because I think we're so used to hearing, especially in more recent years, like, every show is just ball pythons and crested geckos and whatever. And dude, there were so many different species in that room, or in those rooms. It was just genuinely very impressive, like very impressive, and made the weekend that much cooler. Like,
for real.
God, and then I have one joke that was stated between myself and Eric Kohler from Midgard Serpents, and it revolves around Jason Balin.
Oh boy.
Jason Butterfingers Balin. That's all I have to say. Jason Butterfingers Balin. I watched this man drop not just the beverage at the gazebo. That was the antithesis of it all. It was just like, dude, you can't hold on to shit, buddy. But I was talking with Kohler and Balin I think he just had like a cup or something, and he's just kind of like messing with the cap or whatever, and just drops it. And I'm like, wow, like what transpired? I've seen you doing this for like 3 minutes out of the corner of my eye. You've had the cup very well held in one hand. Like, I don't understand. And then, the cup falls, whatever, he puts it down. Then the next thing is a freaking cigarette lighter. And I'm like, dude, how do you hold snakes? Like, these are things that move.
Like, the bar's got to cut him off, okay? He's had enough.
Dude, he probably brought his own. But I was just like, come on, man. How are you holding that tiny little carpet python when you can't hold a cup and you can't hold 2 cups or a lighter?
The carpet pythons hold you.
That's actually quite fair. That is actually quite fair. But yeah, I was laughing hysterically at that. I'm like, come on. So Jason Butterfingers Balin. That's the new nickname. That's the new nickname.
Bruh. I'm trying to think of like who else we got to see while we were down there. We got to meet Gary Shavino, which was pretty awesome.
You got to meet him. I already met him. You guys hadn't met in person.
I got to meet him,
which I didn't realize. I thought that you guys had already met. So that was cool.
No, we've talked a little tiny bit in DMs, but not really. And so getting to meet him in person was really great. Get to talk to him for a little bit. I honestly wish that I had a little bit more time to talk to him, because I feel like he's got some really interesting perspectives, and he's a really nice guy. So got to see him. I'm trying to think who else was all there. Alex Wang, Pandas Fauna. I've known him for probably 15 years and got to meet him for the first time, which is awesome.
Heck yeah.
Mike Kasicki. Oh, dude, first thing I do Friday, I told Chris, and I was like, let's walk to the gazebo to see if anybody's hanging out there, and we'll just walk down there because our hotel was kind of far away. We'll walk down there and then walk back so we get some beach time. I'll see if anybody's hanging out, and then we'll walk back. And so I'm walking down the beach, and I see a crab running along the seawall, and I was like, that's not a native crab. There's no way that's a native crab. And I run over, and it's a Halloween crab, and it's just like running along the seawall, and I was like, oh, hell no. So I run over to it, and I'm like trying to pin it down so I don't get annihilated by its claws. And okay, I finally get it by the sides of the shell, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing on the beach right now? You must have been from the Reptile Expo. And so I'm not just gonna let this sit here. I'm gonna go find someone to give it to. I'm gonna figure out because I'm not letting it go. It's invasive. I'm not doing this. Yeah. And so I'm carrying it along the beach, and then I get almost all the way to the Hilton, and I see Taylor and Sarah hanging out on the beach. I'm like, yo! And so I run up, give them a big hug. I'm like, oh, that's a crab. Watch out for the crab. And so we catch up a little bit. And then I go up to the gazebo. And of course, there's people hanging out and everything. And I end up talking to some people, and Skylar, I was like, dude, here, hold this. Or Casey Cannon, he's like, what do you got there? I was like, a crab here. And so he was like, oh, and he just grabs it and it's fucking going after him. And I got some pictures of Casey Kid, and he was like posing with it. He's like, yeah, crap. And then Skylar from Hail the Scales and Peach Throat Passion, he grabs it, and the thing immediately starts digging into his nails and his cuticle, his like his nail bed, and he's like, ah, ah. And so eventually Mike Kosicki comes in. He's like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, oh, well, I found this Halloween crab on the beach, and I was not leaving it on the beach, and so I need to find somebody that'll take it. And he's like, take it? And I was like, yeah, I'm not, like, I really don't want to come home with it, but I'm also not letting it go back on the beach. And he was like, oh, like, I think my wife would like that. She's kind of been looking for a Halloween crab. And I was like, yep, here you go, free Halloween crab. It is for your wife. It's destined to be. Here you go. This one is all for you. And he's like, what are we going to put it in? And I was like, I don't know. We'll empty out a cup or something. Like, I don't know. And so he just like grabs a cup and puts it in there, and it's like kind of crawling out. And he's like, oh man, I got to go find something to put this in. And I was like, just empty your ice bucket in your hotel room and put it in there.
Yeah, true.
At least until you get a critter keeper or something from the show. And so that was pretty funny. And Jeff and Kendra were there, Puget Sound Pythons.
Yep.
That was great seeing them. I love seeing those guys, hanging out with them.
Heck.
And I'm trying to think of who else was there, like Jack Oliver and Preston was there. And dude, there's so many great people.
Jacob
Jacob Bratz, bro. Dude, hell yeah. He picked up some really nice snakes in the show. Dude, he got some Jani that are screaming.
Dang.
Screaming, bro. They're so nice. Trying to think who else. Casey Cannon, Phil Wolf, my fucking dog. Ran into Brian Cusco.
Yep.
And Jesse from Freedom Breeder. Like I said, Eugene Bissett. Saw Chad Brown. Saw Greg Graziani. Ron St. Pierre. I know I'm forgetting people. I know I'm going to end up forgetting people. Craig Trumbauer, Keith McPeak, and Teresa. I love them so much.
Absolutely.
Dennis, Matt Jablonski. The list goes on and on and on. Met MJ. Saw Red Mountain Herp. I'm totally blanking on his name right now. Marco Mendez. Yep. I think that Phoenix Herp was there.
Yep.
Phoenix
Bill,
Herp. Bill Stiegel is there. They had like a little posse that kind of went around and did their thing. Me and David Levinson did a podcast on the evening, and man, I've known him for forever, from the White Plains days.
Right.
Before he even had his mustache.
It's hard to picture Dave without the mustache, but it did happen.
For real, bro. He showed me a picture of a timber or canebrake that he found, and it was the most phenomenal looking Horridus. I think the bars were like solid black, and then it had a beautiful tan stripe down the back. The thing was phenomenal. I need to get him to send me a picture of it because it's amazing.
That's impressive.
And yeah, man, we saw Lucas. It was Lucas's birthday, man.
Yep. The kid is 20. Right. Right.
I gotta send you some pictures of the first time that he came up to Nerd, because I have some on my phone, and oh my goodness, he was a little baby.
Child, yeah. Yep. That's funny.
But, dude, trying to think. Who else, man? I saw so many people. Danielle, I saw and there's people who I missed, like Ryan Martinez was there. Completely missed him. Just
did
like
you see Steve Tillis?
I did see Steve Tillis, and we talked for a little bit about some of his the project stuff that he's got going on, and big shout to him. He's produced some really cool stuff this year. I don't know if he's like publicly said what it is, but
he's put it on his Instagram. He put it
yeah,
on.
but it's not public though, because I went to I was like, maybe I should share this with some people, and then it was private, and I was like, okay, if he hasn't talked about it yet, I don't want to blow his bubble. But
that's true.
He produced some
killer
phenomenal stuff this year, and I was really excited to talk to him about that, and something that very few people in the world have been able to produce. So really hyped for seeing Steven. And there was like a bunch of people where I like just missed them, like just I'm seeing videos now that they were like, oh, I was at the show, and I was like, oh, I was there too. I just did not see you.
Look at this comment.
For real. I will say that. Dude, that's like, dude, I completely missed his table. Same thing with Alan Both. I completely missed. There's sections of the show that I just missed. And I know it because Saturday I went field herping until 10. So I didn't get to the show until 11 or noon.
Yeah.
And so I had a real small window to get in, and like I spent half the time just talking to people. And then Sunday, same thing. I didn't really get started at the show until noon or 1 or something. So I had like a real small window to look around and catching up with people and talking about this and talking about that, and trying to narrow down what I'm looking at, and just I really wanted to get a feel for what unusual things are at the show, because I feel like a lot of people get stuck on it's a ball python show, it's a crested gecko show, it's a leopard gecko show. And so when I go around, I try to like skim through all the different things to see like, okay, what is there that people probably wouldn't have expected to be there. And so I try and whip through all that stuff and look around and try and figure that out,
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. It really just was a great time, man. Like, great people, great animals, great hangs. Just a great trip in totality.
Yes. I wish I could go back and do a little bit more, but it is what it is, and there's always next year. So next year, and there's a couple people who weren't able to be there who I hope will get to catch next year, like Dominique DeFalco and like Matt Bowers, and a couple of the other regular people who are almost always there, and I'm hoping that they'll be able to make it next year. So I miss them tremendously. I send them big giant hugs. So,
yes, absolutely.
Love those people, and I hope that we can catch them next year. What I want to do, honestly, is I want to book my hotel and see if I can get in the Hilton next year and try and book it soon and like pay for it now. So like future me, it's a gift so that I don't have to worry about it. And so past me, I'm like, oh, this is free. This trip is free. I already paid for it.
Right. It's done, dude. It's done. Yeah. 100%, dude. 100%. I mean, we still have to plan our trip of just ping-ponging up the entire state of Florida. We still need to do that. So
I talked to a couple of people who live in Florida, and they're like, please let me know when you do that, because I want to meet up with you and do some stuff. And I'm like, yes. I have not hurt the Everglades yet. I would really love to do that, and then go back to Iguana Land, hit Gatorland again. I know Savannah was I think she's in Australia right now. Mm-hmm. So
I did a live stream this morning, and she had jumped on, and it was like midnight in Australia.
Damn.
I was like, you're living in the future.
Dude, I just saw Ashley Dezen posted a night tiger snake, which is like an Australian Beluga species.
That's cool.
I was like, whoa, I did not think I would live to see the day where those are coming into the U.S., but there they are. I mean, she's in Canada, so technically they're in Canada, but it's open for potentially coming into the U.S. So I sent that to Owen, and I was like, dude, you need to get these.
Right. Exactly.
They love Australia so much, they should get it.
Right. Just a treat for yourself.
Just a little treat. Oh, and then the stuff that Keith picked up some Shinosaurus, dude. I got to check those out at his table, and then he picked up a little Amarali. There was like captive bred Amarali at the show. I was like, Bolivian boas, bro, these things are phenomenal. On the same table, they had southern white lip pythons.
I was just gonna say, did you see the southern white lips there? Yeah.
Oh, I saw them. Dude, I went through, and like I said, I'm really bummed that I missed Alex's table and then I missed Alan's table, because I tried to scan through that show as thoroughly as I could, and I know I just missed some stuff. I know that there's some stuff in the main room that I know I missed certain aisles because of how I was walking through the show, and I kept running into people, and I'm like, did you see the Borneo earless monitors? You got to come see them. So I kept dragging people over there to go look at them, and then the Moluccan scrubs, because there were some scrub people at the show, but I was like, I kept, I would do the right side of the show, and then I would bump into someone. I'd be like, "You got to come over here," and then I would be like, "Oh," and I got to go grab a soda, and then, I did the right side of that show like 4 or 5 times, and then the left side of the show, I maybe hit half of it. Yeah, I just barely saw some of the stuff, so I I know I missed some stuff, but I was really excited to see those Amarali, and then the
The
Southern White Lips too.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, they, again, like diversity was at an all-time high, and it definitely
As
helped
far
make
as Florida
shows
was.
special. Yeah, right, exactly. As far as what could be done, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
that
But
was some cool
so here's a cool thing in conversations with Elizabeth and Daniel from USARK Florida. So obviously they have a new executive director, Ryan Young, I believe is his name, and seems to be still a pretty stand-up guy, very open in communication with Elizabeth and Daniel. And if we've noticed, Florida's been fairly quiet with regards to some stuff from FWC, and a lot of that has to do with that open line of communication. So certainly don't want to be jinxing things, but it sounds like we've got a seat back at that table down there, and that is huge for sure. So kudos to Daniel and Elizabeth for all the work that they've done to establish those relationships, and hopefully kind of keep Florida at least where it is for now. Let's not have it get any worse.
Well, that's, I mean, with some of the stuff I've been seeing over the last couple of days about some natural lands potentially being lost to land development, they really there needs to be some movement on that.
Yeah, conservation efforts for wild land needs to be stepped up for sure. And the land of land developers.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that's very frustrating. If you want to learn a little bit more about what we're talking about, you can check out. I think you might have shared it in your story on Instagram.
I have not yet. I was waiting to read some more about it after work today so I could share it with some more info.
There you go. You can check out. I shared it on my Instagram, and shortly you can see it on. Well, by the time the podcast goes up for the general public, you'll probably be able to see Rob's Instagram. But yeah, there'll be links everywhere for sure. Or you can also just check out USARK Florida on Instagram, and they've posted a bunch of stuff about it too.
Yeah, it's a lot of scary stuff going on, and Florida for reptile keepers just continues to look scary. And I know that they're trying their best out there, but man, when people in power don't really care what the public says, it's tough to make a difference.
That's true. It's very true. A sad fact about the state of the state. So
yes, unfortunately,
yeah. But hell yeah, dude. Well, that rounds out our time. We've gone over a bit, and that's okay because we had a great time at Daytona, and I can guarantee you there's shit that we missed and didn't talk about. And that's okay, because you know what? That means next year you need to be in attendance to the Daytona Beach Reptile Show, so you can get in on some of this insane action. So
debauchery.
So Rob, I'm going to change the question slightly, just slightly. So what in the realm of the Daytona show had you the most excited?
I think seeing that Malukin really had me excited, and I was like, I can't spend money. I was like, that thing is nice as hell. It was a male, so like, do I really need it? But still, to have a Malukin, I was like, oh man, let me just go play the lottery real quick. I can maybe win it tonight and buy it tomorrow. But seeing that Malukin was hype, and then just seeing my friends, getting to hang out with people at the gazebo, and Eric Kohler, and getting to talk snakes with people, and sharing some herping pictures with people, and getting to check out all the just talk to people. I talk to people online a fair amount about all the snake stuff, but getting to talk to people in person is always like
Yes.
the best. And so I think that is what really stuck out to me, and getting to see some of the cool animals up in person and talk to people and just hang out with some of the buds was probably the thing that had me most excited about reptiles. I think after a show like that, you get a little bit of a buzz of like, yeah, fucking let's do this. And so I always look forward to that. And then it just gets me jazzed for next year, because I think that next year, so this year after the show, I stayed for a day, and then I drove up to Savannah, Georgia, spent a day there, and then went to Charlotte to go see AFI on Tuesday night, and then drove home on Wednesday. But I think that next year I'm going to take off the same amount of time, or maybe another day, and then just do Daytona. And so like maybe do Thursday, go to Gatorland, and then Friday hang out, get the VIP, go in, check things out, hang out with people. Saturday, Sunday show, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just like hang out at the beach and just do some road cruising and hanging out and all that jazz.
Hell yeah, dude.
I think that's going to be the move for next year. And maybe Tinley, I don't know. Tinley, I like the Tinley show and everything, and I like seeing the people there, but it's also cold, and I hate the cold.
Understood. Understood.
I want to make it, but also the money and the cold. I'm like, so we'll see.
So I've been joking because I'll be at Animal Con the week before Tinley and then going to Tinley. So I'm like, I'm gonna sweat my balls off in Orlando and then freeze them off in Tinley, all within a 7-day period.
Yep. Dude, I remember the first one I went to, I was like, I could walk to the show. Nah, bro, you cannot.
The icicles are dripping from your face. It's just
it'd be bad.
Yeah, no
bueno.
Nope. I've had that same thought too, and I'm just like, Uber sounds cool.
Yeah, and like I think the one of the last years I went, the hotel was like across the street, and I was like, I could do that. And then, dude, it was just unpleasant.
You just don't want to do it. You'd suck it up, but you're just like,
yeah. Or you're like, wear a jacket, and then you're like, okay, I'm at the show. Where am I going to put this jacket while it's 80 degrees?
Yep. Exactly, dude.
Oof.
Exactly.
Wow. What about you? What had you excited at the show?
Honestly, just talking to people, man. Like that was probably the biggest highlight for me. I think like when I first came down to North Carolina, I did so many shows. And then as the years have gone on, I've done less and less and less. So I don't get as much of that enjoyment anymore. But every time I'm at Daytona or Tinley or whatever, like seeing the people, of course I love seeing the animals, but seeing the people and just getting to geek out about reptiles with people and talk shop, like that gets me excited. And when I am on those trips back home, like those are the things that stick out in my mind, like those kinds of conversations and just like that energy. So I think for me that was like the biggest thing. It was just like seeing people, enjoying the company of people and just nerding out about reptiles for a few days.
Yeah, for sure. Getting to talk to people about the projects that they're working on, or what cool animal they saw at the show, or what their plans, if they're going to do some herping, or whatever it is. So I think that is just like what it ends up being about. And getting to see some of the younger people who are getting into it. We ran into a girl at the show who was there with her family, and she was at the beetle table, and she was like, I don't know, 8 years old or something, and all she was hyped about was the beetles. She didn't care about the whole rest of the show. She spent her whole time at the beetle table, and she was talking, I want to hold it, and she held the giant freaking Hercules beetle, and it was just like the highlight of her trip there. And her family was playing Pokemon, so we were playing Pokemon too, and we were just talking back and forth and everything. So it was just really cool. And then we ran into another family who was going in to get their first reptile too on their way into the show, and seeing that next generation still coming in and getting invested, and seeing parents there with their kids is always awesome to me. And meeting some of the younger people too, because I met some people at the show who were like, I'm 35 now. I'm going to be 36 in January. So when I see people who are like, 18, 19, and they're like young and excited and, all this jazz, and getting to talk to some of those people for me is always great, because it reminds me of like when I was that age, and the excitement that I would have for, I think the first Daytona, I slept like 2 hours before the show. I was so excited, man. I just I couldn't rest. And now I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go to sleep real quick.
I've been around this block a few times. I need a nap. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when I got out on Sunday, I was like, maybe we have a nap. Maybe we have a nap.
Yep, 100%. Yeah. It is okay to take a nap.
Yeah, but meeting some of those people on Saturday night at the auction, or at the show, or before or after the show, and just getting to talk to people, I think that like always it makes you feel better about, because when I was working at Nerd, you get people who come into the shop all the time, and so you get all these people, and that okay, you got a pulse on the younger community of people who are getting invested into it, and but like I think for people like us now, as we're working and kind of doing our own thing and doing online stuff or whatever, for me, it takes me a little bit away from seeing that. And so I get worried, because like the fish community is struggling right now. The bird community is struggling right now, because they're having a hard time with younger people getting invested and getting interested. Right. And the barrier for entry is so much higher for a lot of those other things. And for reptiles and inverts, it's much, much lower. So being able to go to a show and see young people excited about it is always exciting for me. And Alex, I miss you, man. Getting to hang out. I was so hyped to finally meet him in person, and to get to hug him and hang out and talk to him. And yeah, I wish another person I wish that I had more time to hang out and talk with. So
yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely.
But dude, he produced some nice longicatas. I'm just saying. Saying.
This is
and I think they were born while he was gone too. Like that's how boas work. They're like, oh, you want to wait for a week? Boom, let me have some babies.
Yep. As you're getting on the plane, it's like waxy poo, and bam.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. I love that for me. Yep.
Thanks so much. Thank you, boas.
Yeah. Dude, such a great dude, and I'm so hyped to finally meet him, and that all the hype online lives up to it. He's a great person.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Alex, I don't know if you remember this, but from the auction, but yeah, I did.
Suck it. Oh man.
I think he might have been deep on the Jello shot, so I don't know if I'll remember, but that's okay.
We definitely were. Oh goodness. Oh man.
I was just saying, I don't know if I'll be at Tinley. I'll probably try to be there, but the flights and the hotel and the cold, no.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll suffer through the cold.
I hate the cold, man. So, dude, if I do end up going, then Alex, we gotta go to Shed Aquarium together, because that place is popping. It's really nice. If you haven't been, if you have been, we can still go, but it is popping. Last time I was there, they had Dude, I'm gonna hope that you don't have to do that, because I did produce some really nice super striped Borneos this year, and I should be able to get a couple $100 each for them. So as long as those guys establish okay, I should be able to move some and make it. So we're in August right now. We're at the end of August. I got September, October. I got a month and a half to do that.
Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I will be fine.
Oh man. Heck yeah.
Oh yeah, hour 45 on the belugas. Yeah, bro. Honestly, I spent a lot of time in their rainforest section, because they had some tarantulas on display, which is cool because most aquariums do not have tarantulas on display. They had lots of cool tree frogs on display. They had tentacle snakes on display. They had lots of really weird, interesting things at that aquarium. So if you haven't been and you're listening to this podcast, you should check it out. It's really nice.
Oh,
Especially if you're going to the Tinley show. It's, I think, 20 or 30 minutes from the Tinley show. So,
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
all right, Jeremy, if people want to find you, where should they look?
Look it up everywhere. Brassman Reptiles. Check it out. Morph Market, Facebook, Instagram. Don't really look at TikTok because I don't pay attention to it, but everywhere else you can check me out. I've got new, if you're interested in geckos, like I said, there'll be a bunch of new geckos going up, and after a late season, we finally got baby ball pythons and colubrids establishing and stuff. So if you're interested in finding things, check out brassmanreptiles.com or check me out on Morph Market.
Hey,
how about you, Rob? Where are they going to find your super stripes?
I mean, I guess I should restart my Morph Market account. I think I still have one. I have to go look on there. I don't know. I don't sell. I don't push sales on stuff like that blood python that I brought to the show. I could sell that right now if I really
It's so true.
Put it online or something. The thing is smoking. It's a year old, and it's like this. And the thing is red. It's just
it's very red.
I hate selling things, so I just did. And like all those corn snakes, I sold. I think 2 now or 3, and no, we sold 2 at that show. I sold another one. I sold 4 of them, so that's only half of them. I still have another half of them, and then I just hatched out more of them. So I've got stuff that I can sell. I just hate having to check another app to look at all the different messages because, like, I get so many messages on Instagram and so many messages on TikTok, and like, I have ADHD. I can't pay attention to all these stupid things, man.
I get it though,
horrible.
dude. I definitely get it, man.
So I guess you can check Morph Market. I guess I probably will try and sell things through Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I'll post some stuff up, but I'll have those things on there. Rob is Creeping It Real on Instagram and TikTok, and don't add me on Facebook, please. Thank you. Don't do it. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Black Box Cages. If you're looking for a new cage or rack, make sure that you check them out. Top of the line. Can't say enough good things about them. Pre-routed for heat panels, lighting, you name it, they do it.
The whole 9, dude.
It's great. You should check them out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you check out Reptile Talk Podcast on all your streaming platforms. If you can leave us a rating, we'd appreciate it on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts or wherever. I don't know if Spotify lets you rate things. Do it there. Do it. Facebook.
Do it anywhere. Do it everywhere.
Yeah, all the places. If there's an option, do it. We'll read it. I actually went through the Apple ratings and read them recently, and it was very heartwarming.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, we appreciate everybody that's been hanging and rocking with us for a few years now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I had some people come up to me at the show who were like, "Hey, man, I listened to the podcast." So like, I was standing next to you at the table, and I didn't see you, but I heard your voice, and I recognized it. And I was like, "Oh, you don't listen to it on time and a half? Interesting."
Oh God.
I listen to all my podcasts on time and a half.
That's. I mean, it makes sense, dude. It definitely makes sense.
Just while I'm working, it helps keep my brain going.
100%. Yeah.
Brain go.
Oh man. Heck yeah. All right. Well, with that, guys, we will catch you on the next episode. Stay tuned for more details to come about that. We will see you later.
Boom.